Welcome to the Michele Roys Show.
Hello and welcome to another Michele Roys Show. I'm delighted to have you here. I have a question. Have you ever woken up and wondered for yourself, God, I didn't plan this to go this way. Life should have been so much different than I planned. Where am I heading? If you ever thought that, this podcast is going to shed a little bit of light on this conversation. My friend, you're very welcome to this show. You know, a lot of times when life comes unexpectedly with a curveball, be it your health, the loss of a job, a loss of a loved one, or relationship problem, marital problems, family problems, we're left to wonder, where is this all taking me? What is happening? I know about my own situation. This was one of the things that was the hardest for me to understand. And I want to tap into that because I think a lot of the times we put our identity in this pedestal. And when it's taken from us, we feel completely discombobulated, completely out of whack. Have you ever thought about that? Has that been something you experienced, my friend? Well, I know for me, my titles, my accomplishments, the career-driven, that label that I had of being the one that you call to if you needed help for anything, being the strong one, the resilient one, all those labels were something that I attached to myself. And when my health went and I couldn't already continue going to that career-driven persona that I was left with wondering, who am I? Where am I going? What is this all for? And I want to speak into that in I actually want to share with you a little framework that might help you through this struggle and through this part of this journey that is life. We're going to have lots of ups and downs, and it's never going to be an easy one. However, how we structure ourselves, the meaning we give to things, and how we interpret it really helps us going forward. So my friends, you know, I'm always very candid about my own struggles and my own journey. And it's in a way to invite you to think about your own life and how it's affecting you and what are things that you can do that might help you along the way. And I actually wanted to be able to bring this past, pause, and purpose framework. So let's take a time to look at the past. And here's a question. Who did I believe I was? That's something for you to think about as well. Who did I believe I was? I believed I was the go-to person. I believe I was the strong one. I believed I was the invincible one, that nothing could touch me, that I had it all under control and I had a beautiful design for my life. But the reality is, all those things went. And you are left in that messy middle. I know that very well. What we wanted and what's happened has that congruence. You are trying to resolve that in your own mind. But then, do we lose our sense of identity because of it? And I want to speak into this part that a lot of times we find that our careers or the titles that we have, the jobs that we do, which is the work we do, that's very different from who we are as a human being. We can get those things very mixed up. I know I had in my life that my career, my title, my accomplishments, my achievements were who I was. But no, those were just roles I played. And having to take some time back to look at that and see, who did I believe I was? And go into that transition, which is the next part of this, which is the pause. It's how we rebuild ourselves. So the questions that I have for you on the past, looking at the past, is who did you give your identity to? Did you think it was the role that you played? Be it as an employee and you lost your job and your career was defined by who you were as your title? Or was it a parent, a mother, that all of a sudden your child grown up and you're an empty nester and you're going through that whole struggle of who am I without being that mother, protective, caring, and taking care of my child they've grown over? Or is it your health? That you thought you were invincible like myself, and then my health went, and I'm left to wonder, who am I? I'm not strong. I'm not capable anymore. I can't run. I can't do the things I used to. I know athletes go through this. I know each of us, when we are going through the ups and downs of life, we will encounter this. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And it's definitely coming. So be prepared with it. And maybe you're on that season right now. And these are the questions that I want to ask you to ask yourselves that might help you. So looking at the back at our past is seeing, who was I before everything changed? What labels did I wear? And remember, your labels are not who you are. They're just roles that we play. They're not defining who we are, our true essence of a human being. Remember that when you're doing these questions. And if those labels disappeared, who would I be? Evaluating ourselves and asking these questions really help to just solidify where we are in our journey. Because so much of the time, I feel we give so much importance to that label, that identity, that we wrap ourselves around it. But when that comes off, we're left in disarray. And it's okay. It's okay to be left in this messy middle, to not know what is happening, what's going on. But it's also important to just write it down for ourselves so that we can see it in plain sight. What were my labels? For me, it was of a high achiever, still kind of am, but not letting that define me, that, oh, that career-driven person that's gone, that my health, I can't do the hikes that I used to do, and I can't be fit like I used to have, that energy and that zest. But I'm still me. I'm still Michele. I'm still a human being designed by God, put on earth for a reason, on purpose. My worth is not defined by what I used to do or how I used to be. It's defined by who God made me to be. And that's what I want to bring to you. And the second part of this framework is the pause, which is where a lot of people find themselves in, which is the messy middle. It's not an easy place to find ourselves in. The uncertainty, not knowing when things are going to change, not knowing when you're going to get better. When is the diagnosis going to be given? Is there a diagnosis? Not knowing when their next job is going to be, or where you are. It's uncomfortable to be in that place, especially if you love to have everything planned to a T, and now you can't plan things how you used to. But sitting in this place, it's understanding, what's the season? So what is the season trying to teach me? What is the season trying to teach me? Perhaps it's to slow down. Perhaps it's to take a look inwardly to ourselves, where we are, who we thought we were going to be, but just sit with who we are as human beings. I think that's a big gift from God, to be able to have that time to ponder, to look inside. And sometimes the pause is an invitation. It helps us to reflect on the grief that we're going. The pause is a part of growth. If you think about the gardener and the seeds, you plant the seeds and it doesn't start sprouting right away. It takes time for the roots to go down. It takes time for you to be tending to it, watering it, feeding it, and it doesn't happen overnight. So that pause is also something that helps us grow and helps us develop, if we use it, of course. So it's another part. We need to use that time as well. And a lot of times we feel, that temptation of running back to who I was. I just want to get better because I want to be back to where I was before. I want to do what I used to do, because I find there's comfort in that, right? We know what it was before. We know how our work was. We know our colleagues. But what if right now is a time of change? What if this time in the season you're in right now is asking something different from you? Not to go back to who you were, but to develop you into something even better. And I mean in that better way of caring for ourselves, in a kinder way, in a more rounded way, not just in a one-size-fits-all kind of way, but something that is for us. And a lot of the times, slowing down actually reveals what really matters to us. I know for me, having this illness take everything that I thought was me, right? It made me actually have time to think about my family, my husband, my boys, how they were there for me when my health left. And I didn't give them the time that they needed before. I was taking them for granted. I felt like, well, they're always going to be here, my family, of course. I should just continue playing this role model mother that I am and amazing wife, and that I could do everything invincible persona. And yet, when it all went, they were the ones there, and actually really helped me to solidify that they are my rock. They're the ones that I should spend more time with, that I should make time for, and not let my work or my other commitments take the time that I have with my family. So that became sacred for me. Conversely, if you don't take the time to analyze that, everything else will take away your time. But the things that really matters to you won't. But unless you know what really matters to you and where your priorities should be, it's going to be a very difficult road, my friend. So another question that I have for you to think about on this part and pause. What have I learned about myself in this season? What have I learned about myself in this season? If we stop and ask ourselves those questions, you will see that you've learned to appreciate life in a different way. You might have learned to see yourself in a different light. Maybe you're not as wrapped up into your identity, quote unquote, here I'm saying, with my title or this amazing position that you're in. Maybe you can just see who you are in this season as a courageous person, full of zest, living with intention. And that is perfect. And that's more than enough. And what have I been too busy to notice? So like I said, I was too busy to notice my family, who was right in front of my eyes all along. But I didn't put them there. They were in the back burner. And that's the reality that I had to come into conclusion and to notice and then make something about it. Draw parameters around it to protect them and protect my time with them. They come first. Of course, God comes first. But my boys, my husband definitely comes second. And that's okay. So allowing yourselves to let this pause be a time of reflection and to not try to get ourselves back to what we used to do, how we used to be. But who can we become in this new season? What's the transformation that's happening with inside of us that might take us to new heights that we never thought possible? So that leads me to the other next part that's purpose. So you have your past, your pause to take some time to stop, and then your purpose. What's the story that's being built from here in this season of your life? Who am I becoming? Not who I used to be, but who am I becoming? That seed that was planted in that garden, that's being stronger, and it's giving fruit. It's growing into something beautiful. So who am I becoming through it? Am I becoming someone that's more aware, more kind, more empathetic to others, to their needs? I hope so. Which brings it back to our character. I think God really works in our lives in a deeper way. It's not about what we accomplish and who we are as material things, how many things that we have, houses, cars, or whatever. But is that deeper person? What is our character like? Are we dependable? Are we trustworthy? Are we someone that people can call on and know that we're there for them, that we can pray for them, that we hear them, we listen to them? That's the deeper part of character building. And that's part of the purpose. Who are we becoming in this journey? Now, it's not easy. Not at all. I don't say this lightly. It's not easy to go through that struggle. And even for me, seeing the past and really struggling to accept where I was and making peace with that and not trying to rush back to that persona that I was or that label that I had. But in the season, what has God been able to bring through? My book, this podcast that I get to do every single week, talk to you, to share a little bit of hope and encouragement, perhaps helping you in your struggles. And maybe you're helping others as well. Or learning to talk to other people and opening opportunities for advocacy. All of these things I hadn't planned. But this is what's happened through my surrendering, my opening and allowing God in. What about you, my friend? Who are you becoming in this story? How is God using your story to help other people? And how are you sharing that with others? That is something so important to remember, because I feel that we are here on purpose. Our value is not diminished by our identity being lost or changed or remolded. We're still who we are because God designed us. And that should encourage you to just keep going. Look at the strong person you are. You're still here fighting your battles. You, my friend, you haven't given up. Well done. I want to encourage you to just keep looking at that. And I want to leave you with 3 questions before I close. And maybe you can do these things for yourself. So question number 1, who was I? Who was I? Question 2, who am I today? Who am I today? And question 3, who am I becoming? Who am I becoming? So looking at the 2 questions, who am I and who am I today, they're all based on circumstances, right? But if you look at the last question, who am I becoming? That's our character. That's the foundation. And that's where new ground can be built. Ask yourself that, my friend. So life may change your plans, but it doesn't get to define your identity. I thought that was such an important quote to mention. Life will come in various ways and change a lot of the things that we have thought, but it shouldn't change who you are in God's sight, who He's made you to be. Hold on to that. And even though it might be different right now for you with the season in your life, just know that it doesn't change your worth. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of every good thing because God has already designed you to have it all. So my friend, I know this is a short message. I just wanted to bring that. Think about that framework. First, take some time to look at the past. Ask yourself those questions. Pause, reflect on your messy middle, and then let's have purpose and see how God can use all of this to develop our character, to strengthen us, and also to help others out. Because in the end of the day, we're better by helping others, always. May God bless and keep you, my friends. And if this has resonated with you, please, please, please do share it with your friends and family. And if it encourages you at all, I would love to hear from you. Let me know how you're feeling about these questions, and please let me know if you're doing the questions as well. Very, very important, okay? May God bless and keep you. And until next week, bye for now.
This was the Michele Roys Show.